What is up, guys? Today I'm replacing the stereo on the Patrol, the new Patrol. I mean, this thing is pretty cool. If you're in the 90s, yeah, that would have been mad. But there's no Hanson CD in there, so it's got to go, unfortunately. I'm hiding in the car because it's raining. So let's do it. Now look, I've watched Mighty Car Mods, alright? I know that the first thing you do when you're working on your car is jack it up. Alright, that should do it. First thing you need to do is figure out how to take off the surround for the stereo. For me, there's probably a little slot down here. Oh yeah. Try not to like break it like I did. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Before you can mount your stereo, you're going to need to take these brackets off the original so that you can attach it to the car somehow. They're important, don't forget them. Now that stereo is removed, we can get rid of it. I don't really want to throw it out into the concrete, but that would be funny, you know. Now you've got a bit of a choice when it comes to wiring. What you can do is you can cut your wiring and you can solder your wiring in. So this is the plug off my stereo which I'm going to put in. Now it's a Sony. I have this from it. It's obviously the stereo has been used before. But another way you can go is with one of these. It's a harness that converts your Nissan plug to a standard. Then you need the standard to go to your stereo. So there's a Nissan to ISO, ISO to Sony. This Patrol's a bit special. Being a TI, it has a diversity antenna, so there's two antennas. There's the main one in the guard, and then there's like a sticky tape one on the back window. So you need a special converter for the plug as well. Pro tip though, when you put these on, turn the plug around the other way, and what that will do is connect the antenna on the back window as your main antenna, because only one of them is actually used, which is because most radios only expect you to have one antenna. Doing that means you can keep your main antenna folded up down in the guard out of the way and use the diversity antenna on the back window, which is actually a really good antenna. Now these just come from Autobarn or Supercheap or wherever, one of those stores. I got mine from Autobarn and they had all three of the different connectors that I needed in stock, which made it easy. So the first thing you want to do, connect them together like that. That's the standard ISO. Now we have a loom that is Sony on one end, Nissan on the other. And we can go ahead and plug that in. Done. Literally done. That's the wiring done. Easy. Now my stereo came with a microphone for the hands-free, so I've just gone and tucked that up behind the guard and I've run it down past the dash. I'm not going to show you taking all that out, and now it comes out here on a really long wire, so you can actually put the stereo in the boot. That's why the wire's this long. Now if, like me, you're going to use an amplifier, you want to get yourself some RCA cables. I've got 3 cables here and I've run them up here through there and out to here. I've also marked which one's which. This one has one bit of tape on it, this has two, and this has none. So I just myself know which one is which. I've done the same at the other end. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to be using an amplifier. Now if you've got a reversing camera, now is the time to install that and run all your wiring up to here and hook it into your reverse light circuit, which I think is actually down there behind the kick panel in this car. And then go ahead and connect everything up. So I've got my antenna, which goes in down there. And I've got my Sony connector, which goes in there. And I've got my kilometer long hands-free, which goes in. Nope, that's the steering wheel remote. No, that's correct. No. Yep, top one for microphone. Then I'm going to go and plug my RCA leads in. Remember which order I do them in. I'm shooting a video so I can cheat later on. Front is one stripe. Back is two stripes. Paying attention to which one is right and left. And then the other one, that there is actually for the reversing camera, and that there's for the subwoofer. So later on when I want to hook up my reversing camera, I just have to hook up power, which is going to be behind the kick panel down there, and the signal is going to be under my seat where the amplifier goes, which means I don't need to take this all apart to get that working in future, which to me is valuable because this is a pain. Now that is everything hooked up. I can go ahead and install this. My head unit has a separate screen which I need to put on. Very easy to do with one hand. In fact, I prefer it. Probably just, even if you're not filming, guys, just hold a camera. I think it just makes everything easier if you're holding a camera. So at this point, I've just quickly sat the screen in there to make sure it works, and it looks all good. Look, don't worry about that. Now that's hooked up to the speakers through the wiring loom. Now I've gone and got myself a large quantity of speaker wire, and I'm going to wire in my amplifier. There's two ways I can do it. Some like audio and electronics purists will tell me that I should wire directly to the speakers all the way to the amplifier. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to wire from where the wires to the speakers come out at the head unit. Some people will say that like that would affect the quality. I think it's bullshit, because I've seen some demos online of people replacing like $1,000 monster audio cables that are gold plated with like a dirty old coat hanger, and like professional audio people couldn't tell the difference. Post a link to that in the description if you want to watch it. Okay, just need to give these the snip. Easy enough done. I mean, I did just pay for these connectors, but I would still rather cut this, which can be replaced for about 12 bucks, than cut the original vehicle loom, or be taking the door trims off to get to the speakers for all four of them. And there's also tweeters up here, and there's, so I don't know, I'll deal with that later on when I replace the speakers. For now, I'm going to use the factory wiring. Another benefit of using the ISO loom is that I don't have to worry about trying to figure out which speaker is which, and you know, differences in colors on factory looms over the years and stuff, because that can be a bit of a problem. I think probably not so much on these cars, but it definitely can be a problem. Right, I've cut my speaker wire into 4 lengths to run down to the amplifier. Tell you what, I definitely did not need 15 meters of this stuff. Now, according to the manual for the Sony head unit, the wires with the black stripe are negative, so I'm going to stick with that and make sure the black stripe on my wires marries up to that as well. Don't really know what happens if you get speaker wiring backwards, but probably nothing good. There we go. Now there's one more thing we need to do, one additional wire, and that is to activate the amplifier when the radio turns on. Now in this case, it is blue with a white stripe that activates the remote. In the factory loom, that tells the power antenna to raise. Now my power antenna is actually broken. It does not raise, so I'm going to cut this wire here and run that straight to the amplifier instead, so that the antenna doesn't make a noise when I turn the key on. One last bit of insulation. Now there are nicer ways you can do things with a wiring loom, but I have a feeling that I'm going to be back in here to do things in future. So I'm only using tape for now. If I do, tape is fine, and like factory looms are made with electrical tape, so you can just use tape. And if you really want to make it nice, you can use like heat shrink and, you know, sleeving and stuff, but I think that's overkill personally. What I need to do is untuck that carpet, remove the seat I'm currently sitting on, and tuck these wires in a nice way and trim all of these new wires to length. And then run a power lead from the battery through the firewall over to here. Gotta love electric seats. Luxury. Oh dear, there is airbags and such under here. Okay, so there's an airbag plug under here, and people say you're supposed to disconnect the battery, and I'd probably just rather not do that. So I'm just gonna gently pass the cables through the carpet. So that much ado, or with a lot of ado, I got this coat hanger through the grommet up there. And on this end I've taped my power lead for the amp. And I'm hoping I can pull this coat hanger through. And without too much fuss, managed to get the cable inside. Now I'll hook the other end up. Oh no. Oh, now I've done it. Hook the other end up to the battery. Oh yes. Now there's probably a right way and a wrong way to crimp these terminals, but then there's also the Tim way. Like I bought one. Righto, so there's the ground lead. Right, so this cable is going to big doofy boy in the boot. This is a 4-channel amplifier. You can see just up there is the pin out for like left speaker, right speaker. And down here underneath you have bridge mode. For those who don't know what that is, it basically means you've got 2 speaker channels here. You want to use it to control 1 speaker. For example, a subwoofer, you run it in bridge mode. So that's what I've done here. And that combines the power of those 2 channels to run 1 speaker, which is why you'd want to do that. Rightio, all the speaker wires are hooked up. Subwoofer's in channel B, front speakers are in channel A. It's powered up and I've tested it. Looks to be all good. I'm just going to tidy up the wiring, hide it under the carpet, and put this seat back down. There we have it. Power lead is in. Just secured the fuse there in a way that's not going to cause any problems to the aircon line it's on, or the fuse itself. Alright, stereo install complete. Not bad. Better move on before I piss off the neighbours. Thanks for watching, guys.